Peace, peace. Welcome back, family. We're here again at your Leaders Only show, digital podcast. I'm your host, Kendall,
I'm your host, Semaj.
and we ask that you like, subscribe,
Comment,
comment.
ring the bell.
Yes, sir.
And then also, if you're not watching live, then tap into and you're watching later on the replay, just go in the comments and hit pound replay, hashtag replay for us. That way you know that you're getting it later.
And also, we also been talking on mental health, and to give y'all another, we keep giving y'all the update that we got our own access line. If you're feeling down, you're feeling suicidal, any problems, mental health issues, that you can call. Instead of calling 911 now, you can call 988.
Yes. And today, we hope that everybody's in good spirits. We're excited to bring you a new show, new topic. This week, we're going to be talking about children as adults, being tried as adults and looked at as adults in the judicial system.
Yes, sir. So last week we kind of touched on a story, and we kind of touched on the injustice system of the minors. And so we got a story you want to touch on. It's a kid named Tracy. He was arrested in Kentucky. It was in Kentucky, Louisiana. No, it was in Louisville, matter of fact. And he was going to the store, on a regular day, and his friends was at the store. He seen his friends, and he went in the store. He actually seen them in the act of a robbery, and him being shocked. His first instinct was to get out the store, and he couldn't believe that it happened. And he was probably in a stir moment, saying that, man, I can't believe my friends in there robbing the store. But in the media, it was presented that he was being a lookout.
Right, and that came from the person that was working in the store. I mean, he gave his story, and he said that he knew the guy, Tracy, who was 17 at the time. He talked about how the guy came regularly, and he knew him on a regular, so he was normal. He was from the community.
Right.
But that day, Tracy was outside, and two of his friends came up, and he knew the two guys, so they were speaking. They had on hoodies or whatnot, and then they went in, and when they were in, he was shopping. That's when they decided to rob it. But that's why the media put it out like that, because the guy who was the actual victim said that, he was standing outside being the lookout.
Right.
Yeah. Which was, it was sad. It's still sad. But it happens every day. When things like that do happen with Tracy, even when the story was going a little further in the years past, what he should have did was just leave, period. You know what I mean? Because you can't be guilty by association. Once you know somebody, it doesn't matter, that we know, when it comes down to the judicial system, it's more likely that we're guilty first, and then you got to prove your innocence. So when it's stuff like that, you have to get up out of there, because then it becomes a thing where if you tell you're a snitch, then you have to deal with that type of trauma, because you didn't know nothing about it, but you know these guys, but you don't want to cooperate with the police, because from last week's story, we have these issues where you build a distrust for them, because now they're just jumping on you at an early age instead of identifying the issue, talking to you like an adult, and you're a child. So, hey, what really happened? How you feel about this? What's going on? Where, before you throw the cuffs on and take me to jail, it might be rectified there.
Right.
You know what I mean? With at least this person. So yeah, that's the beginning of it. But then that story, it goes a lot further. So.
And it's kind of crazy that it can kind of relate to us, as far as I can remember in the time when we was younger, and you had an incident when we was at grandma's house, and they locked the door when we was in the store, because you had picked up a candy bar or something in that matter, and you could just see how the times have changed. Whereas back then, which probably was like the early 90s, they wasn't quick to just jump on us, and arrest us and do things. Yeah, the police came, but they waited for our parents to come. It was kind of different back then in them times.
Right.
And we went through a similar matter. So that's, even though we wasn't robbing the store, but it's still, we was breaking the law.
Right. Well, with the Tracy story, like we gotta go more in depth because he was locked up, but then he was put into a juvenile detention center because he was 17.
Right.
But he had to sit there because he had a bond that was $75,000, and that's another issue that falls in the lines in our community and the families, because nobody just has $75,000 just sitting around, even if it's 10% of that, which would be 7,500.
Yeah, 75.
We don't even have that because
Right.
the numbers even show that most times a miscellaneous expense, which is something like this that you don't plan for, we usually can't cover $400. So to have a miscellaneous expense and your life be on the line, you can't come out and see your people because we can't cover it. That's another issue, you know what I mean? Whereas though we show that we touch this money, you know, with trillions and trillions of dollars, we have the buying power, but we don't have enough saved, you know. We're
Then
not,
you don't own your house. Most of them don't own their house, so you can't put up collateral like that.
yeah, but then it spins around to you shouldn't have to,
Right.
you know what I
You're
mean?
right.
But again, this is a unfortunate situation because he wasn't a part of the premeditated plan. So then it's like, dang, you know what I mean? So then he sits there, and then, you know, he turned 18. So then when he turns 18, now there's a probability now, because in Kentucky, you get retrial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're sentenced. You get resentenced.
Yeah, because now you get the adult.
Tried
now
as
you
an adult,
tried
right.
as an adult.
So that being the case, that's another issue because he's sitting here waiting. So while you're sitting there waiting, you got to deal with your fear. You got to deal with your anxiety. You got to deal with, man, why am I even in this situation? That's the resentment. And these are all at an early age. To
Right.
deal with stress is a disease in itself.
Right.
To be stressed out as a kid is like, bro, like, you should be being able to be a kid.
Right.
Again, most of our issues come from impoverished conditions, financial lack, or financial lack of education. We don't have the financial literacy because, again, there's money coming through, but obviously this child, these other two, the ones that he's being attached to, because we can't forget about them because they were the ones who initiated the whole process, but now he's attached to it. That came from something. They're going into the robber store for a reason. They want money. They want some products. One of the kids did grab a bong. The other one wanted the cash register. So it's like, then there's the thrill. We see this on TV.
Right.
Even though they put the mature, you know, symbol on movies or rated R, when in today's time is a parent literally saying, hey, we're going to watch this, and sitting down and watching this movie, then saying, this is the difference between a movie and real life. He going to do, you know, they're going to say cut. You're going to be able to go home.
Right.
You're going to try this. I mean, you're going to be
Yeah.
looking at 10 years, 20 years,
Yeah.
the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And they put 10 years over this kid's head, 17 going into 18. If he does get convicted and come out 27, he lose the majority of the youthful part of his life.
Right.
Now you speedball, and he's playing catch up at the part where you're supposed to be becoming a grown man. Yet they say the development of the minds is not to the mid 20s.
Right.
So now his mind is being developed in an institution, 4 walls,
Correct.
with beasts, you know, with
And that's-
grown-ups.
And that's where it happened. That's where I could relate, because I got taken away at 23 at a young adult age, whereas wasn't a fully adult yet. Like, just like you said, you don't start fully becoming a man until 25, stuff
Right.
of that. So I ain't witnessed that. And when I started to grow into that while I was in the system, starting to smarten up, because when I first went in, it wasn't, and for a child to go into this matter, I went in as an adult, age-wise, but mentally not. But still, I was aware of where I was going, but not aware of what I'm going to have to adapt to.
Right.
You know, and it's not something that you can adapt to easy. Like, people always ask me every day, like, how did you do it? It's not a blueprint to it. It's not.
Right.
It's really not. It's survival of the fittest, for real. And if you're not smart enough to channel your energy and take advantage of your time and doing something positive, and just to keep you out of a negative environment because it's all around you, just to take your mind to that, or find something to educate yourself, just to take up time, because you're not going to get away from the environment. So you just need something to take up that time for that little 12 hours. You need that time taken away, so when you get locked back in your cell,
Right.
okay, now I'm safe again.
Right.
You know, and it's sad, but you can't tell a kid that. Like, this is what you're going to have to do. And in Tracy's comments, he dreaded his 18th birthday. Like,
Right.
I don't even, I don't even want to turn 18 now.
Right.
You know, after that mistake, that's how you feel. Like, I said that, like, God, man, I wish if the judge would have said, you know what, I'm going to put 151 months over your head today and you could go home, I would have been good.
Well, it's good that you say
You
that
know?
because they presented him moving forward. They presented him with that opportunity, and he took a plea deal, and he did get that 5 years probation. But within that, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, man. To be disciplined, to be you can't. Most of the people can't just come out, pick up, move, because that's a real issue. That's a real solution that would solve this issue. You can't lock somebody up. They beefing in their neighborhoods and stuff like
And
that.
send them
Getting
back
in crime. You send them right back to the same neighborhood. They're gonna be back to you.
Right.
Their parents out there. Somebody, you gotta be able to move. Like if you keep a fish in a fish tank, a goldfish in that same little fish bowl is gonna grow that big. If you put one in a bigger tank, it'll grow just like a shark or anything else. It adjusts to the environment.
Right.
We're no different. We're the last of all creation, which means we the same. You know what I mean? But we encompass everything. So with that, it was like, man, he took the plea deal. At first, he didn't know. He didn't really want to. He went back and forth. But then he took the plea. Okay, boom. The judge said, I don't want to see you again. He said, I promise. You know what I mean? Flash forward 2 years later, he's now 20. And there's a car, and the police see it, unattended. Car doors open, keys are in it. They think, oh, it's a stolen car. He in the back seat. And there's a guy, taking the radio, older guy. He's supposed to be looking for tools. And boom. That 10 years that was over your head, you're 20 now, so you can't even say that you're a minor. You're convicted now. You're guilty. You know what I mean? So that even shows that giving him that opportunity when he got when he did get the deal, he came back home. They had the birthday party. It was something to look forward to. His younger brother even said, "Man, this gives us a time to bond." Because he hadn't seen him since Christmas when he was sitting inside of the cell just waiting because he couldn't get a bond. So that's like, it's so many different relationships that happen when you the nucleus of just this issue. And then in his case, at first, he wasn't even a part of it. He was just drug into it. But that affects his younger brother now. He can go right or left.
Right.
But in the immediate thing, he just going to be sad. He's going to be depressed. Again,
Right.
Here's more depression. You want to know where our mental health issues come from and why people walking around depressed and sad. We just getting knocked with issues and issues and issues. And most of the time, they're adult issues at an early age.
Right.
Adults don't even know how to cope with a lot of this stuff. So you think a child can? That's super sad. So within that was a lot. But then moving forward just shows that, man, detention ain't good enough. You know what I mean? Because it's the same way with school, man. These are institutions. One take you if you go to college, you know what I'm saying. Look at the 4-year period, right? So they put him in the detention home, and then he had a plea bargain. So within 4 years, right? He had a 5-year sentence. But 4 years, most time 4 or 5 years, like a college, college, right? So he would have graduated a degree. Now these college students are graduating degrees, but they're not guaranteed jobs, right? So we went through all that, and the trick, our crack era is now in the debt, college debt, right? Crack set our parents back. College gonna set us back, us as parents back with our kids.
Right.
Same thing now with him. He went and got locked up. As an accident. Came back. He had to deal with all that stress, trauma. Go back to the same environment, and then boom, he is locked up again, not making smart decisions with the wrong type of.
So that's like him going out and finding a job. That's like the college student getting a degree, not finding a job.
Yeah. Now they dealing with just the stresses of, man, I know I went to college. And this is I know I'm supposed to be looked at as a good person, but man, I gotta make some real life choices, man. And it ain't adding up. $15 an hour is not adding up. I got $125,000 worth of debt coming out.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not adding up. So we get this thinking, more stress, more mental health issues, but above all, institutionalized. Right. When you're a kid, right, you hear a bell. We trained by a bell. We can't move to the next room to a bell. Same thing with the teacher. We can't go to the bathroom unless we ask. Well, it's like that when y'all in prison. Y'all can't make a move to them gates.
Or the key
hit them keys. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's so much. It's crazy how we are so much alike, but we just go through different situations.
Right, and that's what I was going to say. Like, now you can see, like, this is I'm Tracy. He could, and he's the student. The so-called
the
square.
Sibling. I'm the sibling.
The sibling. But so-called he went the right way, and he's giving you the experience of. You see how he broke it down as college. And both of them are institutions. I like that. I love
being a child. So that's the same thing. That's how I felt. I felt worse when you got locked up.
Right.
Multiple different, bro. I had hate in my heart. I was sad. I was fearful. Right. You know what I mean? I didn't know what was going to happen to my younger brother. You talking about somebody that we used to play basketball in the room when you bend the hanger and put it on the door. We come from that. I seen you cry. I know you when you sad. I know when these kids go outside, because those other two that come up to him, I know they don't really want to carry that gun that day. I know that they don't even, they ain't aiming. They're not paying to go to the shooting range, become snipers and do. No, it's whoever get hit. Yeah. But just know I'm about that. Yeah. I'm willing to do it. Yeah. That'll send a message to the other people that he willing to do it. Right. But what about the kid that's from the same environment, which I always say about me? Why they don't never talk about the product of the environment that use it as alchemy? Right. It's not that we scared. We not punks. We not nothing. I'm the oldest. Take this, right? I'm the oldest. My whole life, I wanted to be an example for you. It could have been just like that. It could have been. I'm not saying that it was, but it could have been. You could have been a quarterback too. You could have got a scholarship too. And then I always get people coming in, swoop in, and they can influence my household because they got money. It make me feel like less of a man. It make me feel like less of a big brother because somebody can come in. And then my dad ain't there. So I would have to talk to an adult like, yo, get away from my brother. It's just like ATL. If you ever watched the movie ATL, when T.I. was trying to go at Big Boy, and he willing to take that fight. But what's the fight to lose when I could possibly lose my life being disrespectful to somebody who ain't healed, who dealing with straight ego, straight power, straight manipulation? I'm sitting there like, damn. And I'm in 11th, 12th grade. And I'm still my mom's best friend. I'm also her punching bag. I'm also the leader of my football team because I'm a quarterback. I'm also I'm in AP class. I remember I tried to drop my classes in the midst of all this, trying to just, figure out my way because domestic violence is going on in this household too. Right. So it's like, why they don't talk about that rose that grow from the product of the environment? I can't stand when people use that excuse because it's very applicable. You can say that. Like, man, we ain't had no choice. But then what about the people who was making the right choices? Right. We did have a choice. We had I just understand that you didn't have the strength to do it, but we can't keep saying, man, I'm a product of my environment. Me too. Really, I rep the hood hard, man. I don't front or negate the fact where I come from. I make that stronger to say, man, I had to go through this. I had to grow up faster, so it made me wiser. You know what I mean? I had to cope. I had to see different things, so it's not a shell shock as an adult. I'm sad that it had to become the norm because we take stuff that's mental health. I mean, it's beyond mental trauma, bro. Right. You see people get their head blown off. Look at the Floridas. Look at the rappers. He's saying he got shot. Yeah, 17, 16. Can you imagine be sitting next to your best friend at 16 years old, see his head get blown off, but then you got to go take a test on Monday?
That's crazy, like how Guadio and all them.
And we did.
I'm talking about this is stuff that we grew up in. Like we grew up in it. The stuff that's happening now, we grew up in it. Right. We're not saying that we, I understand where it was frustrating at with you. And that's what we're going to get to now. Give me 1 second. Let me give y'all a couple statistics on that last on this injustice of the children, right? So if you ever Google the prosecution of minors starting at 14, that's when they can be tried as an adult. Florida is one of the things that pop up the most, and it says it's the worst for children. So in the last 5 years, 4,446 children have been charged with felonies in the adult system in the adult system, right? Statistically, more black children are more likely than white children to be funneled into the adult courts and lockups. And the percentage has went up from 2019 through 2020, it went from 3.2 to 3.7% to current now. Right. So that's just a couple notes for y'all on this injustice of children, right? So now we're going to dive into a touchy situation, and really it's been a long wait, and it's been a must to have this conversation, right? So the main thing I remember when I got taken away, right, was a court date, right? And I wanted to know, you already told me how you feel, so that was my first question of how did you feel when I got the news, right?
Got the news?
When you got the news that I was locked up. The police came in and swept me up, right? And then the second question is, the last thing I remember was making the last eye contact with you, right? And then it was over with. What was that feeling?
I mean, like I said, I mean, for first, I was pissed off, like, for the longest, bro. Like, I just like the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a bunch of people in them. I know a bunch of beautiful people. To me, I don't know what they do when they go other places. So that's why it's also weird to me, too. Like, I've been around a lot of people, and then you see news clips. Like, I was just with them the other day. Like, yo, it was like, yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? Same thing like with you. It's like, man, we moved to D.C. You know what I'm saying? And in this time, I was telling you, you know, just like when it was happening back then, it'd be like, I'm not messing with that, bro. I ain't with that. I don't like that. I know you better than that. I know your skill set. You know, I know you could cook. That was one of the things that I seen. It was a gift at an early age. So when I first seen the judge, you know, slam the gavel and say what he said, it was like my stomach dropped because it's like, dang, again, another good kid. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people say that, even in the Tracy situation. His mom even said that, like, he never been a felon. It's sad that they can't make mistakes and just move forward. And that's how I felt with you. It's like, dang. And then I thought, like, dang, he ain't even got the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hear all these stories, and you're like, yo, he ain't even got no bread. Then you hear the judge saying, y'all sure? You sure? Like, I knew that there was a way to beat it. Again, I'm young. I'm in college. I'm like, dang. So I'm supposed to be able to have money to help fight a case, get a degree. Again, you feel shorted, bro. Like, a big part of my mental health issues come from the lack thereof, feeling like you didn't do enough because I'm not the father. I'm just the oldest son. But the father wasn't there, so you try to be the top example.
Right.
And that's, you just be like, dang, like, damn. And then walking out, I was just like, damn. Then hearing, you know, how many people is attached to it, and you read in the indictment, and it's just like, these people I know too. That's a whole nother issue, you know, playing
Right.
football with people, like, I don't have no hate for these people. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Like, I know these people, mothers and stuff. I would see these people and be like, literally, like, man, how are you doing?
Right,
Like,
right.
for real, like, how your mom been? Man, that thing it drove me to a point where I can't trust people. I don't want to be around people if you're not on that God time, because I know it's like, especially in today's time, it's like a lot of trendy stuff, you know, being healthy and holistic and speaking about God and being about God. But it's like, if God didn't send you, or if God does send you, I know it was meant to be.
Right.
But if he didn't at this point in my life, I don't want to risk it.
Right.
And that way I know that is when it's not all about money. When I see what you're doing on a day-to-day, when you're treating yourself with the utmost respect. So at that time, before all this, I was just thinking, like, man, you know, people would not understand that I got to go play a game, you know, or go back to school, or just, you know, try to finish and graduate, or the pain in my mother's eyes, you know what I'm saying? You know, women are over emotional, you know what I'm saying? So that's super. And then again, you try to be strong for your mother, you know, you try to be strong for your sister. You just try to be strong. Then you go back to the other movies. Like I said, when we was growing up, it was New Jack City, it was, you know, it was Scarface, it was these type of movies. So it's like, man, do I got beef now? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Because I could always remember, like, talking to you. You be like, bro, I ain't going back to Virginia because I don't really, you know what I mean?
I don't like going
I don't
there.
really like going there, and I don't really know who out there, you know. And I'm the same way because, you know, you never know what somebody's energy is towards you.
right.
You know, I just know that when I came home this time was gonna be my only time ever leaving. I never planned to be where I was at in that situation, but you know, I was so in deep, it was just got out of hand.
Right.
You know, I always apologize. You know, I try to keep it away from everybody. You know, my closest friend is Corshawn. Like Bub would tell you, like, yeah, I don't play with indulging them into the lifestyle I was in. So it was just like, man, damn, I don't know what to do, so I gotta stay in it now. You know.
Then being the oldest, not to cut you off, but being the oldest, I mean, my cousin Wayne got killed by an elephant gun. My Uncle Tommy got killed because he beat somebody, like he was, you know, street tough. My Uncle Willie had a Porsche, a Beamer, had his initials on the Benz, and then I seen him die from, you know, health reasons. You know what I'm saying? It didn't leave nothing for the kid, you know, to upstand and, you know, start. Nobody ever makes it to the Frank Lucas part without the jail,
Right.
without the having to
Right.
tell,
Right.
without the. So even
That
that, like I said, I was an
resist.
early learner. Being the oldest, man, you see, I remember being 7 years old and mommy being gone because of drugs. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And me trying to cook rice inside of a coffee pot.
Right.
Again, just trying to be an adult
Yeah.
at an early
Yeah.
age, just to set an example for
Forceful. Though.
Yeah, and
That's
did
forceful.
I did the honor roll. I mean, he'll tell you,
He's
I did the
smart,
honor
bro.
roll all the way up until I felt like, man, this school stuff is a game, bro. And that's why I felt like it was in college. Like, bro, what do you get? I was losing all my friends. That year when you got locked up, my cousin Benji came to a party. 3 weeks later, he died of a heart attack.
Yeah.
My friend Sherry passed away that same year from the same thing that Bernie Mac passed away from. My goddaughter's father got locked up that same year. A couple months after that, my DJ got killed. A couple months after that, I was trying to graduate college.
All this is in-house or right around.
I'm trying to have events. I'm talking about this. My DJ, like I literally talked to him. The reason that he didn't DJ for me that weekend because that Friday was his birthday, and he said, "Yo, I'm not gonna be there that Sunday." So all of that was going on while I was dealing with, hey, yo, my brother. But then you also get that being the oldest and being like that parent. You be like, yo, I told you so. You even have those moments. Like, man, I told you. Like, man, this is you listen to these people. It's the same thing I deal with, like with friends, with relationships. It's like I can't help being blessed with vision.
Right.
I have intuition. I can see things that's gonna happen, good and bad. If we worked on something good, I'll tell you all the time. If we really train, if we really do this podcast, if we really get in this kitchen and cook, we have gifts. If we hone in on them and really focus on them, and that be all that we do, it's gonna be abundance of blessings. If we keep wavering, adhering to different distractions, because it's the same thing. Now it may not be things that can put you in jail. It's taking away things from your time. That's why I'm trying to get you to realize now. You already gave up so much time. Now your time is the most valuable asset.
Right.
You already gave it up. So not to sit and soak like that, yo, woo, woo, woo. But now, let me get the most of it by just doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. Life slowed down when you pull out a lot of those distractions. So that's what it taught me, too. Not having to trust a bunch of people, not having to depend on a bunch of people. My business partner is the ultimate blessing. Like, his sister, birthday is my birthday. His birthday is 3 days before your birthday. Yeah, so I know, like, when you do numbers and chronological things and divinity, I feel like these people were sent to me. You know what I'm saying? His older brother, which would have been my position, he went to jail. So, you know what I mean? With that, it's a lot, bro, and it's so much more to unpack. But I just want it to be known that 250,000 children going to jail every single year, or just being cast in the system, because this might be trial, this might be convicted, this might be sentenced. But them
Probation.
4 years, let me give you this, before we end, 4 years, that's 1 million children. Now just imagine if 4 years, 1 million children, you took them and you put them in a different environment. You made sure they had mental health experts. You knew what meditation was. They was eating right. They had, people who told them they love them every day. Somebody pour into their dreams. That's 1 million possibilities of people that's going to turn into be 1 million constructive adults. We got to realize that ain't what they want.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah,
hey,
man,
we thank y'all.
Definitely thank y'all for being here. Much love.
Peace.
Peace and blessings.
Make sure y'all like, comment,
subscribe, share. Put that
Please
hashtag
click the bell.
replay in the comments if you're watching it back and not on the live stream. Hit 988 if you're having any mental health issues. Email us if you have any questions, comments, concerns, topics that we should touch on. Go dive into a little deeper. Leaders only
once again
22 at gmail.com.
I'm Kendall.
I'm Semaj.
And we love y'all.
Peace.